welcome back to My Messy Fingers. This is Charlie. We are going to work on another page for the album that we are creating for Scrap and Create using the Ciao Bella Wizard Academy collection. And we are on page 2. So what I have created here, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this guy yet. I'm thinking about him. So you're going to want to get from your collection, there is a piece of paper that has, hold on, that has this image on it. You're going to want to cut out both of the images on either side of this, and be careful cutting this because we're going to be using this a little bit later in the book as well as these. So just be real careful with cutting that out. So you're going to want to do that. This is a full 12 by 12 sheet. These two little trinket guys over here are from your cutouts, your cut-aparts. And then you're going to locate this 12 by 12 sheet because we're going to be cutting 2 pieces from it, but we're not ready to cut yet. Here is that other item that I want you to cut out. And then we're going to be making a pocket, so we're going to use some of your scraps. You're going to want to find this booklet. You're going to cut it out. And then we're going to make, this is going to become a pocket, so you're going to want to locate a 1/2 inch strip or make one. And then we're going to be using this piece here. It's a 12 by 12, and then we're going to start working on what the measurements are for it. The back side is this grid pattern. Kind of plain, but it has a purpose. All right, so on this, you are going to cut this at 8 3/8 by 8 3/4. We're going to make a rather, I'm not going to tape down a pocket. I want every bit of it, room that I can to insert the pull-out that we're going to have. So you're going to take a piece of cardstock from your scraps at 3 3/4. 3 1/4. What am I saying? And it is going to be approximately 9 1/4 inches long. I said that again. I said that wrong again. What is the matter with me? 9 3/4. Okay. You are going to score at a 1/2 on each end and a 1/2 along the length of the piece of cardstock. I want you to diagonally, being careful, but diagonally cut the corners. And then we're going to add some tape to the back side of these, and we're going to put it here. Now, I'm working black on black, and I'm getting a little smarter here about putting something down that I can see what I'm working on instead of the black against the black. Okay, that's not tearing very nicely for me, so I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to cut that piece off, and I'm just going to trim that up right there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to take the corners of the paper, get it lined up in there. Whoops. Oh, goodness sakes. I think it'll work. All right, so there's our pocket. And I wanted to do it this way because if you're gonna put photos in here, you're also gonna put this in here. So we wanna make sure that we had enough room. And because generally I tape it a 1/4 inch tape here and a 1/4 inch tape around the ends and then tape it down. But I didn't want to do that because I want you to have as much room as you can for putting your items in there. All right, from my scraps, I use this piece. You can use whatever piece you want. It has a reverse side. You can use it as well. But I am going to use now, if you are following along on the build and you visited the last video, I had several mishaps. One being my tip came off, and with it came the steel pin that was inside the tip. For some reason, the glue had dried really hard around the edge or maybe in the shaft, and I pulled this little black button off. So I had to go on the hunt today to find some new steel pins for my glue bottle. Okay, this guy, I fussy cut him out, but I just tacked him on there with a little bit of tape so that I could do the fussy cutting. But I'm going to glue it in place. So ignore this little piece of black right there. I'm not worried about the tape being on there because I'm gluing it. Okay, I'm going to match up to my bottom and hope that these line back up where I wanted them to be. Push that over a little bit more. So much easier to see. Okay, now I want to put, I was thinking about putting this a little off center, and I'm still thinking about doing that. We're going to have a book. I'm going to glue this down right now. It's just tacked in place. I want to see I think I want to do that. I like that. I think it looks... You can put it here if that's where you want it. That was my original intention. But as I got to looking at it last night, I wanted to think about putting it off center. And I am going to glue this in place real quick here. So if I put this just off center a little bit, and then the book, now I should be able to do this because I'm not holding on to a whole bunch of pieces. So if the book is here, then you've got a photo here, so this adds a little kind of a depth to it. It looks like it's staggered, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to turn this over And I want to make sure that I've got it, well, it doesn't matter that I've got it centered right at the moment, but I'm going to turn it over so that I can put my glue where I want it to be. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, I can never get through one of these videos without making a major mistake. I glued the wrong side. A little bit of a wet wipe takes care of that pretty easily. So I want the glue on this side. One of these days, I'll get through a video without making a colossal mistake. I think as I get used to it and I settle into it, because my nerves are still I'm a bit nervous. Okay. I'm eyeballing top to bottom here. I do like that off-centered, and I don't have any glue on the underside. Now we'll put the book in, and I'm going to off-center it as well. And I want it on this side. Okay, now the only thing that I've got to do to this, I don't know if you've ordered the entire collection, that you were able to get some of these trinkets from Julie at Scrap and Create. This is a paper ribbon, if you will. I am going to, that's my pull. Or if you got these, or if you have other trinkets that you can use as your pulls, your little pulleys. And I've got to kind of smash that down there. Take the excess off, and then on this I'm going to run as the tape. I think it's going to be approximately a 3/4 inch, because this is a 1/2 inch trim. I don't have 1/2 inch tapes, which would be a lot better. But I want to put tape on this, because as it goes over this, it will help to continue to reinforce it. Okay, get that off there. And we're going to take that off. I'm just coming off maybe 1/16 off the edge as I lay this down, so that it provides just a little bit of framework. Okay. All right, so that is done. I think that looks kind of nice. All right, now our two panels, our two outside panels. To measure across from here and try to find the center, for me sometimes is a little daunting, because it seems like I can never find the middle. So I have a piece that's cut at 4 3/4. I scored it at 1/2, and I scored it at 5/8. And of course it measures the 8 3/4 in length, because we're going to make sure that we're always in the same measurement on that. I am going to put my tape on the back side. And then I'm going to turn this over. I want this gusset that we made with those 2 score lines to be what stands up on the edge. So you're going to come right up to the 1/2 inch score line. This will allow that gusset to stand up. And then you're just going to fold over and burnish. Now on this side, I'm going to push back against that score line, and I want to encourage it to hold its shape so that we have a nice 1/8 inch gusset here. Now we're going to repeat the process for the other side. We're going to put in our tape. Same thing, I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to take the edge of my pattern paper and I'm going to come right up to that score mark. I'm going to stand this up kind of tall, make sure that that's seated in there correctly, and push it over. Same process. I'm going to push back against that 5/8 score line, and I'm going to encourage it to hold its crease and then stand up so that we have, again, a nice 1/8 inch gusset. I'm sorry, I dropped my piece on the floor. Okay, I fussy cut this piece out, inked it like I've done everything else, but I'm going to go ahead and glue it onto here because I want to place its center and let the magnet that's here merge there on this piece here. So let's put that together. I could do it with just the black cardstock, but I've got to do this anyway. Yeah, it's got to come together anyway, so might as well just do it. Okay. I'm getting a little bit of a push back on this, so it's pushing that paper up. Okay. Center this top to bottom, down the center of it. Push that down. I'm going to slide it off, so there we go. There are probably easier ways of doing that. I do not profess to be the expert on that, but that's kind of how I do it. All right, magnet This paper, the back side, will be taped because if I, like I've said in the past, if I have to get in there, I want to be able to get in there and make adjustments. Oh, that's right. I was going to try something new today. Well, I'll have to try it on the next video. I was going to try to play some music in the background, so when I go silent, that hopefully you could hear the music and not waiting for me to say something. But I forgot. Next video, I'm going to give it a shot. Expanding my horizons. I take off the center and I am going to just look, the books were, I almost put that upside down. Okay, we will go on to the next side once I burnish this. Okay. And I feel like I should have a funny story to tell you all so I can keep you occupied while I'm doing this. But I don't know any funny stories. At least not any that I could share. All right, let's get these right side up. Right. Okie dokie. Now I need to cover this back side. So I did not anticipate for it. My sincere apologies. So I'm going to grab something out of my scrap. Really the only side I need to cover is this side, is half of this. that means I've also got to do all the fussy cutting around that. Okay, that was not anticipated very well. I'd really rather save that big piece. Okay, so I think I'm going to do a little bit of cheating here. Before I make a mistake that I cannot undo. I had to stop there for a second. This side I'm probably going to regret doing it this way. I always seem to do that. Let the magnet find its mate. Oops. Okay, let me clean this. No, let me do this, because if I got more, it's got to come out of there. All right, now I am going to This is not the way to do this, folks. I apologize. It was an afterthought, and I'm not thinking it through very clearly. So do what you need to do to get that piece on there. I apologize. It never fails. I am just... I get kind of annoyed with myself. I'm so sorry. I'm a ding dong. You know, this works just fine when it's just me, but when I'm doing this for you, it's not fine. It's not okay. If nothing else, you learn from my mistakes. I should have put that white paper down so I could see what it was I was doing. And then what my intentions are is I'm going to get this on here, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to then trim around the edges. It didn't matter what I was going to do here. It was going to be an awkward ad because I didn't think it through. Okay. I'm going to sneak right up underneath there. Fortunately for me, I have these really cool, sharp little scissors. Have a bit of an overhang, but I'll fix that. I could do this with a craft knife, but I'm afraid I would slip and I would cut right straight through my piece here. There. Now I've got an issue with there being some white edges on this, so I am going to take and add a little bit of distress ink to try and hide those little white edges. So there we go. So that's our piece right there. And now we'll work on these two inside panels. Now on these panels, I do a cut to fit. I know what I want to see here. And I want just a little bit of an edge, not much of one. And it's just easier for me to do a cut to fit than to fuss over physical measurements. So I apologize if you're kind of expecting some, but I don't work real well with tiny paper measurements. Does that make me bad? I know I'm not the only crafter out there that does a cut to fit, so. And my panels, one was a little bit larger than the other, so I had to make sure that I got them on the correct side. And there's some wording on this, and I want to make sure the wording is right side up, not upside down. Both of my pieces here leave about 1/16 of an edge, and I'm staying away from my score line. I don't want the papers coming in on the gussets. Okay, so that is almost done. Now I did fussy cut this out. It's on the cut aparts. It's the, looks like jars of herbs and medicines stacked upon a couple of books. And I'm just going to try and put this back where I had cut it out at. I used a piece of tape to kind of tack it in place so that I could cut it, fussy cut around it. And then I am going to pop this up. You can lay it flat if that's what you want to do. These were the closest thing I grabbed, so I apologize. I don't know why I feel necessary that I always have to apologize. It is what it is. But I like to always have some depth in my projects. So we're going to set this right there. Now I did think about adding the broom over here. And I think I'll still do that. Glue it down. But I'm not popping this up. I'm just going to lay it like it's leaning up against the bookshelves. Someone went in to sweep. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's add the tape to the back side so that we can mount it in the album. We're going to use, I'm using 5/8 inch tape. And then our tape down the center for additional strength. All right. Page 2. Make sure it's right side up. I've done that. And then I'm going to turn this way so that I can see how I'm lining up. I'm coming right up to this edge of that sheet of cardstock. I'm making sure that left to right I am of equal distance. I'm going to lay it down very gently. I'm going to open up. I'm going to burnish. And then I'm going to take the tape apart underneath. Oh, come on, don't do that. Tape wants to come with the paper. Okay, so we're going to open it up. And then we're going to really give this a good burnish. Get the air out of there. Okay. All right. So this is your page to build. So you've got lots of room here for some photos. You've got a fairly decent pocket here that you can put photos. You've also got a photo mat for those 5x7 photos that you might have, or additional journaling cards. Okay, and there you have it. Thank you for watching, and please come back. We'll be working on page 3 next.